We are live. That was a beatdown. That was a beatdown.
I mean, we kind of expected it, but that's the third game we've gotten to 100 points, and that's pretty impressive.
It sure is. And look, I mean, it wasn't unexpected, but the way Duke went about it, they were very methodical. I know Niagara is not the best team in college basketball. At the same time, Duke held them to 42 points, which I think was the most impressive part of this game for the Blue Devils. Their defensive performance, they were locked in throughout the entirety of this game. There may be a couple of lapses in the second half, but I thought their rotations, especially when the starting five was in, were really tight. And they just did a really good job of taking away Niagara's ability to get into the paint and forcing them to take tough threes.
When you have a rotation with 9 players, and at the 6.5 minute mark, you're going to players 10, 11, and 12, you know that this is a lopsided victory where Coach Shire's doing everything he can to figure out what can he learn, how can he teach. So hats off to Shire.
Yeah, I think honestly, I thought this was a great coaching performance from John Shire because coming in from the Kansas game with these two matchups over the weekend, we Howard coming up. We'll have the preview out for that game tomorrow, probably a little bit later, like afternoon, early evening, somewhere in that range. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. We're covering every Duke game, previews, post games. We'll mix in some highlights, some analysis, and then we'll obviously get all to all you guys in the chat in just a couple minutes here. But I thought having these guys ready to go right away.
Take the mic.
Yeah, I was just thinking, we had a comment about the sound, so we're going to try to work on that here. But he had these guys ready to go, like from the jump, and offensively they were in a flow early, which hasn't always been the case this season. But I just thought defensively they're extremely locked in. And coming off the Kansas game, these two, the Niagara and then the Howard game coming up, mentally for a bunch of teenagers and early guys in their early 20s, you could have seen a little bit of we don't really need to be at 100%. We're going to win these games. They could have won by 30 and been just fine. But that's not the effort we got from them tonight, which I think is a really promising sign moving forward.
I think one of the things that he did very, very smart was he didn't need to put a full court press on, but he did it. And he did it to make certain that his players were active on defense. And I thought that was a very smart move on his part in order to figure out how are we going to keep the effort at the highest level possible. So he stepped it up on defense, and the outcome of the fact that they only scored 42 points showed. There was only take away the one guy that hit all the threes.
Oh, we'll get to the stats. That would be Mr. Walters, who came in as their best three-point shooter and then certainly looked like it.
Came out as their best three-point.
Yeah, he sure did. He sure did. And it was, I think also, it was like a complete effort, very balanced effort offensively from Duke, which is really good to see. And I think also, like you say that it was the full court press was there to keep them engaged. I think that was part of it. And I think part of it was that Shire wanted them to get practice with it in a real game. So that way, if we're playing Louisville and we're down 8, he's got a wrinkle to throw at them. Just like he mixes in the zone. It's not necessarily about this game, but about a future game, which is why I loved in the second half they went to the Cam Boozer, Malik Brown, Patrick Gongba with Dame Sarr and Foster, almost as big as Duke can play. And they only played a couple minutes. It's hard to get a ton from that, but I just like that Shire was mixing and matching out there. He was seeing what lineups he could get out there and see how different guys look together, because you never know, foul trouble, knock on wood, injury, when you might need to have different combinations of lineups out there in a given game.
Let's go to the stats.
All right, we'll go to the stats. Let's see. Oh, hold on. Let me get a little refresh in here. Let me get a little refresh in with the stats. There we go. Yeah, this game ended, so I knew there was something wrong there. All right. So Duke won this game 142. I don't think I mentioned that. Here, lean in a little bit so you're in the picture.
I'm always in the picture. I may be out of the picture, but I'm in the picture. All right, let's go.
All right. So, well, I like, I'll let you read off some. This, you don't get to do this very often.
No. All right, so we're going to just tilt that a little bit. Here we go. All right. So, Cam Boozer. The first interesting thing that comes out of the stats is who had the most minutes? And that would be Nicholas Humeni with 24 minutes.
Yeah.
This is going to be a long season.
Well, if you keep going.
All right. Otherwise, Cam Boozer, 21 minutes, 14 points, 5 for 11 field goals, 4 for 4 from the free throw line. And I'm going to drop down. Oh, we did not shoot 80%, which is my goal. We shot 79%.
Pretty good.
Because quickly, when you look at Cam Boozer, 4 for 4, and a terrific performance from Patrick Gamba in just 20 minutes, going with 20 minutes, 8 rebounds, 10 for 11. The only reason he didn't get the 11th one was because the announcer jinxed him. Otherwise, 3 for 3 field goals, 1 for 1 from three-point range. His first, that was great. And, so he finished with 17 points, which is the leader for the game. Dame Sar, not a big stat line, 22 minutes, not a lot jumps out to you. What?
4 steals. That's what jumps out to me. That guy was getting deflections and steals all over the place. Yes, offensively, not a huge output, but in this game, it was really balanced performance from Duke. He didn't get a ton of shots. So I thought his defense and energy on that end of the court was tremendous. 4 steals and a block. To me, it stands out quite a bit.
All right. Well, it stands out for you, but not for me. All right. Isaiah Evans, 21 points.
21
minutes, 12 points. 4 for 8 field goals, 3 for 7 3-pointers, 1 for 1 from the free throw line. So we don't have the players that have yet to give us a problem there. And 3 assists, which was tied for the leader along with Caleb Foster, who also played 20 minutes. You go ahead.
It's tied for second in a 3-way tie with also Dame Sar. Our leader in assists was Hamenia with 5 off the bench. It's actually his second game with 5 assists. He's a true Swiss Army knife.
Is that how you read the stats? You actually have to go down further. Okay.
Yeah, sometimes there are, guys off the bench who may have...
Well, we played 12 players tonight.
We did. We got a lot of guys in there. And you mentioned right off the bat, Hamenia was our leader, jumped off to you. He played the most minutes. And he hit 4 or 5 from the 3-point line, all in the second half for all of his makes for Hamenia. And jumping back to Evans, man, did he have a number of really good passes in this game. Hamenia had a really nice cross-court pass for a Caden 3-pointer. Evans had a couple that didn't end up in assists. Like he had a nice kick out, and then Sar had an extra pass, I believe it was to Caden. It didn't go down. But Evans had a series of really good passes throughout this game. I've been really impressed with his playmaking off the dribble. And then I'll finish out the starting 5, and I'll give you Malik. So Caleb, 10 points, 3 of 4 from 3, 1 of 2 from the free throw line. I'm not going to beat him up over it because he clearly, watching the game, was way more frustrated than anybody else about him missing the front end of his 2 free throws. And it did hit the front and then the back of the rim. So in that sense, it was a better miss. But he's playing so well. The defense, the decision making, he's just having a really awesome start to the year after, the first exhibition, Tennessee, wasn't great. The first half, Texas. But since then, guys, I think he's been really just solid, and he's hitting his threes. He was above 40% from 3 coming into this game, and then he went 3 for 4. As a team, that I didn't realize this, but that jumps out to me. 17 of 33 from the 3-point line, over 50% as a team, which is a damn good number.
We skipped over the fact that one of the things we wanted to see happen in this game was Patrick Gamba not getting into foul trouble. And in 20 minutes, he had 4 fouls. So I'd say we still have an issue there.
Yeah. More or less, yes, I would agree. He did have 0 in the first half. if I remember correctly. So he picked up a lot when the game didn't matter, quite frankly. But it was one of the things we were looking for.
It is what it is. It's 4 fouls in 20 minutes.
It is. And as long as, we're on our, in a game we won by 58, and we're going to be talking about the things we were looking to improve upon. The other thing that I have to mention, because there was 2, that was one of them, was Cam Boozer's finishing inside. Now, he was 5 of 11, 0 for 1 from 3, so 5 of 10 from 2-point range. One of those, though, was a mid-range shot, which I hadn't seen him take, quite frankly, all season long, and it was nice in the first half. He drilled it, so that means he was 4 of 9, from the paint extended area, which is not good. Now, in a couple of those, I do think he was fouled and it wasn't called, but as we get ready for these big games against teams that are big, Arkansas, Florida, Michigan State. Michigan State's not just big, but also physical. He's going to be really tested at that aspect of his game that hasn't come around yet, and he doesn't really have a huge opportunity to really practice and improve upon it. So it is something I'm going to be looking forward to look for, I should say, in the Howard game as well.
Caden? We didn't do Caden yet.
We didn't do Caden and then do Malik.
So 17 minutes, 11 points, 4 for 6 from field goal, 3 for 4 for 3-point range, which was really nice for him. Overall, a good effort from him in 17 minutes. And Malik, 16 minutes, 7 points, 3 for 3 field goals, 1 for 2 free throws, 5 rebounds in 16 minutes. And now I have to go to my own things where we have a minimum of 3, maybe 4 deflections, 2 steals, and where he forces the ball to be passed due to him trapping. I still love and think the defensive side of his game is the most fun to watch, but would like to see him shoot. And he didn't really. I mean, he had 7 points, most dunks inside. Really didn't turn around and give us the shot the way that Gamba did.
Well, yeah, I would like him to shoot the 3 occasionally, and he doesn't really look for it. But I do like that he was more aggressive, going to the rim, looking to dunk. I do have one more stat though. At least 6 mentions from Jim Boeheim that weren't necessarily connected to the game, but where Boeheim had to talk about his guy, Malik Brown. At least 6 of them. So, if Boeheim's calling the game, he's going to make sure Malik Brown is a big part of the broadcast. One more guy before we get to the trio at the end is Darren Harris, who played a lot of minutes in this one. 20 minutes, 5 points, a couple assists. He hit the 3 early, then was fouled from 3, and then didn't connect on the rest of his shots. But good for him that he got a nice run in this game. And then Iffy was the first of the 3 off the bench. He somehow ended up with 3 fouls
in 6 minutes.
in 6 minutes. Yeah. But good for him. He was able to get on the board. I also thought he got fouled and could have had a couple free throws, but I'm not. It's kind of embarrassing that I'm even bringing that up right now. And Jack Scott though had some really good rebounding, 4 rebounds. He had a 3-pointer. Really good minutes from Jack Scott.
It's unbelievable. These guys are 9, 10, 10 11, and 12 in the rotation. And Jack Scott could slip in there. And then the last was Cameron Sheffield.
Who got his bucket. So good. Everybody got on the board. Really happy about that. All right.
I mean, everybody.
Literally everybody. Yes.
All 12.
All right. So now I got to give the medals. And for me, I'm going to go gold, Patrick Gangba. He was, I know he had 4 fouls, but his ability to score inside and the free throw shooting, and he hit his first 3. He had a really good game. Silver, and this is tough, guys. This is tough. But I'm going to go Cameron Boozer. He did not score efficiently inside, but look, he had 3 steals and a couple blocks. He had 14 points. He had 5 rebounds, a couple assists. It was, it was kind of like it's weird that this keeps being a thing, but it was kind of like a average game for him, and he still had a pretty decent stat line. And then this is where it gets tricky. I'm going to go with Isaiah Evans. He had 12 points, but I just really like the driving and passing from Evans in this game. But honestly, guys, you could have given a team award to the defense, made that the gold medal. I think that's appropriate. And then you could have argued for Foster. I thought he played really well. I thought Dame Sarr's defense was great. Hamenia had a really good line, arguably worthy. Caden Boozer hit his shots. There wasn't really a clear pecking order in this game like there's been in some others. Any comments before we head to the chat here?
Other than it's a 58-point win against kind of well, they were 2 and 3.
They're 2 and 2 until this one,
and so Duke is now 6 and 0. The games that we should win, but we're winning by scoring 100 points. We have one more game with Howard, and then we get to find out what we're all about. And it's time to go up against a series of tough components.
Yep. After this Howard game 4 or 5, I think it's the one in between's like Lipscomb, if I remember correctly. But we start with Arkansas on Thanksgiving night, and then it's Florida, Michigan State, and then I believe Lipscomb, and then Texas Tech. 4 or 5 against top 25 opponents, and a couple of those teams are going to be top 10. So it's going to be an awesome stretch for us to watch and cover here on the channel. Now let's get to you guys in the chat. So we've got ACBC. Welcome back. Great team win. Duke sits pretty at the top of KenPom, almost plus 32 net rating. That's pretty impressive. Pretty impressive early on in the season. But I won't get too carried away with that until we get through this stretch. If we're still somewhere, above plus 25, plus 27 or so, after that stretch of games, I'll be feeling like this is a Final Four team for sure. I think that right now, but that will solidify that belief for me. Joe M. 32 field goals made off of 24 assists. That's a great stat.
Good catch. Great catch.
Laura Markle. Did it drive anyone else crazy, I guess, that Jim Boeheim kept pronouncing Gangba's name incorrectly? It got tiresome.
We could do a whole show on
Boeheim
being tiresome.
I don't think he really wants to do these games most of the time. That's why I feel like he goes out of his way to talk about Malik Brown, because it's one of the few things he knows. He knows Malik Brown, so he can talk about him. But yeah, I get the sense that Boeheim, it's like he needs to get out of the house and he has to do something, but he doesn't really want to be there.
And I'll clearly mention how it's difficult to get out of the crow's nest where they do the broadcasting from. You can almost, I mean, as the color guy, you could almost predetermine what he's going to say.
Yes, but I will say I did agree with him on the Gangba, the early flagrant. I thought it was borderline. Thought it could have gone either way. So it was one of the few times I would say I agreed with Beheim. Laura says third game in a row at home with 100 points or more. Yeah, I don't know what's been. I would say the defense has been more impressive because holding a team to 42 points and on average we've been holding teams to 60 or less, which is very impressive. But the offense has been really good to start the season, and Coach Self made a comment after the Kansas game saying that he felt. Now this isn't coming from me. I want to be clear. Don't take my money, but he said he felt this year's Duke team was ahead of where last year's team was in terms of their cohesiveness offensively. Joe M, a lot better free throw shooting today too.
I'm just nitpicking, Joe. Just nitpicking. They were 79%, pretty close to 80, where I want them.
ACBC, Caden was outstanding. Shot threes pretty well today. Caleb needs to work on his free throws. Jack is a very good shooter. Even our bench is big. I think Iffy's our biggest player. But I think we all saw a little bit as to why he is not, part of the rotation with the amount of fouls he picked up very quickly there. Lawrence Freeman, Duke has the best bench in college basketball. Off the top of my head, it's hard for me to think of somebody better, but that doesn't mean there isn't one that's better. But it's tough to think of one. It is tough. Anything to add there?
No, we'll find out as we play a series of. Well, we won't find out because with the better opponents, we're not going to see Iffy and Jack Scott and Sheffield.
Yeah, but sorry to cut you off.
Being 9 deep.
Yeah, that's what Lawrence is alluding to.
Yep.
Yeah, it's hard to think of a team that is as deep as Duke is. So, it's a great point. ACBC, our best free throw shooter is truly Big Pat. Man, it looks good. Every time he shoots it, you think it's going in.
Yep.
Iffy needs to learn to defend without fouling.
Yep.
And Jim was commenting how he had 3 fouls in less than 5 minutes. Darren's three-point shooting is concerning. Was impressed at Cam's mid-range game so far. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not too concerned with Darren's three-point shooting, though I would have liked in this game for him to shoot it better because he got extended minutes. I think it's going to come around. He's such a good shooter. It's just a matter of time for me. I think it's going to come around. Joe M. Duke's Twitter made a post in the first half saying Malik had 7 deflections in 5 minutes.
It easily could be that I just stopped counting because I just enjoy watching him do it, and he does it so often that I was putting little hash marks down, and I may clearly have missed them, and because I wouldn't be surprised if he had 10. It's like if I'm an offensive player and I'm about to encounter Malik Brown, it's like I'm already thinking, do I want to go at him or is it better for me to pass?
Yeah. Let's see. ACBC, Jack's our best bench player. Thank you, Nick, for getting us to 100. And Joe M., the ACC sans Boston College has won their game so far, which So Louisville ended up winning their game. That was a little bit dicey, but listen, I know this may be tough for some of us, but I'm rooting for all the ACC teams right now, and that for right now includes North Carolina, which I know may be crazy, but it helps everybody if the ACC comes into conference play, having played better in the non-conference portion of the schedule. It'll help with seeding, when we get to March Madness. It'll help get more teams into the NCAA tournament in general, and it's just better for the league and better for Duke. So I want all these teams to win, and it was dicey. Louisville, I mentioned. Virginia was down with 8 minutes to go to Northwestern, and that's a team that I thought could finish in like the top. I have them like fifth or so in the ACC, so I was really worried about that. But they ended up coming around and winning that game. So overall, a lot of really positive signs early for the ACC. Yeah, I'm right there with you, Joe. We gotta get those metrics up. Last year was awful. Let's just call it what it was. It was rough. After, am I remembering this right? Both Louisville, no, we had 4 teams make the tournament, and Louisville, Clemson, and North Carolina all lost in the first round.
I think that's right.
Because North Carolina won their
Playing.
game, and then it was very funny because I remember we were doing the post game show for Duke Mount St. Mary's, and I made a comment because they were down by like 20 against Ole Miss, and I said North Carolina has them right where they want them because they had made a habit of coming back, and they did come back, just not quite enough, which seemed to be the theme of their season last year. Yeah, I think we've got Louisville, we've got North Carolina. NC State is much better, although they have some tests coming up. I'm curious how they're going to do. Virginia. So, yeah, ACC is looking better. I'd say quick show tonight. We've got our preview coming out for Howard. Tomorrow we'll do post game for Howard game. After that, which will be 4 o'clock on Sunday. So we'll be back 6 o'clock or so Sunday, early evening. Oh, Wake Forest won. Nice. Good catch, Laura. So, and Wake Forest almost beat Michigan the other day. I remember we caught that too. So they look much better than I thought they were going to do. And I got to say, I really like Duke Harris. I think he's a player. I'm surprised at how well they've played to start the season, losing Hunter Salas and Cam Hildreth, how important they were for that program. Anything you want to add before we
I
close
just
out?
want to say thank you to all of our regulars in a Duke game that we win by 58 on a Friday evening. You might not have necessarily decided to jump on, but thank you all for being part of it. It makes it so much fun.
Yep. And if you're still with us, we appreciate if you like us. Subscribe to the channel, drop your comments, and we will see you guys. Well, we won't be live, but we'll see you guys tomorrow, and we'll be live with you Sunday early evening would be the right time. Unless you're on the West Coast, it'll be Sunday afternoon. Until then, guys, peace.